Hello everyone, and welcome to Planet Zootorial. This is an interactive tutorial series where you will be able to create this in the end. We are going to go there via landscaping, pathing, barriers, buildings, and also foliage, and you will be able to build alongside me with the blueprint provided in the description down below. But now let's jump into the episode and have some fun. Hey there everyone and welcome. We are taking a look at foliage and detailing. So we are back in our little zoo. If you are new to the tutorial and you haven't seen the fourth episode, this is what we did. And yeah, you can just download this park to build alongside us. Between the fourth and the fifth episode, I've changed a few things. Before we go in, I just quickly mentioned them so you guys know what to do. So I put all the habitat things in that our red pandas need. Also, I put some red pandas in, made them a little shelter. That's it. Basically, I did this to avoid too long of an episode, just to making these things which are pretty obvious and most of you guys will know anyways. However, we are now having some things to do. First of all, we have to look into the habitat itself. So I'm sorry, that wasn't for the beginning, it was actually about my voice. So, I don't know, my throat is a little bit itchy today, scratchy, whatever. We don't have any plants in here, as you can see. Before we will do some general foliage stuff, we will work on this habitat to set the tone, to set the theme. I would highly recommend to do this, because this will also make sure that you are in the, in the environment that your animals are live in. And the game gives you a good idea about what you need, and this is in the environment tab. So it tells you which kind of plants from which different biomes in which continent you need. So this is what we want to do. We head over to the nature tab down here. Then we open up not the favorite one, the filters. Go to biome and we click those two, taiga and temperate. However, there's also another additional information. This is continents. We want to hit the continent and this is Asia. So we are wanting to put in Asia. Here we go. So now we have all the plants that do they are available for us, but they also do exist in these areas. So this is what your animals will favor. As you can see, now 1% of the coverage is filled. However, we definitely need the cherry blossom, because this is what you would expect for these kind of animals anyways. You would hate me if I won't do it. So let's put them in. There's also like a bigger version of this one, which I definitely want to have in the back here, just to cover off the food area a little bit. You can see the satisfaction goes up a little bit, but there's just so much more in here. So one thing which is also very important, you have to make sure that these animals can't climb over your walls. So you do want to put a little bit of attention towards your positioning of the plants. However, if you want to make things look naturally, you also want to make sure that you will blend in some of the more edgy areas of your habitat or whatever. So what I want to do is I want to make this whole line over here a lot more integrated into the whole scene and setting. So therefore I'm using a lot of these plants that kind of ground shrubbery, so to say, that do cover up a few more places than just a little bit. And you can also use bigger plants to make sure that you cover a greater scope. So for example, you can use the bamboo as well to create a little bit more of a nice sideline to this little lake over here. Make sure to just vary the rotation everywhere and spam the Z key. So therefore you make sure this is how you guarantee that it looks natural and it doesn't look too copied. Because if it, I'm just quickly showing it to you, if you just use them all over the same, you can see it looks very unnatural, very kind of man-made, which you don't want to have. You want to have this all as natural as possible. You can always use little bits and pieces everywhere to cover up some ugly corners. I'm also a big fan of using the bigger bamboo in the places like here to make sure that we fence off this area a little bit. So it kind of looks nice and also serves a purpose. So it does actually help us to cover up this ugly transition into this area, which we don't need. So I like this tree quite a bit, so I want to have this incorporated up here, because I know that the red pandas can climb on that one. So this is why I want to put this here. And I'm planning also to have some of the bigger trees in the back to give it a nicer back area. So kind of just using the foliage already to create an overall environment for your habitat. So you can see this is how you create this, and it already starts to look nice. But now, as we have taken care of our animals in the habitats themselves, it's getting a lot more dark in here because of the sun, but we could easily redirect the sun. Now imagine the animals could swim. Like pandas, let me just have a look, but I'm quite sure they can. Well, maybe they can swim, but they won't. So if you go in, we can always check with the traversable area, which I've already pre-activated as a service for you guys. You can see they can't swim, so they won't be able to go here. But imagine they would be able to get over to the side like they would be swimming. Then I left this one in. This would be potentially an area where they could climb out and escape our habitat, because if we click the barrier, you can see the null fence is just passing by here, and the moment the panda is going out of here, it definitely gets a problem. What is the alert, though? Let me just put, what is the alert? I don't know what, okay, it's a disease going on, never mind. Okay, so we don't need to care about that. So if you have this issue over here and you want to make sure that the animals can't escape, there is my trick for you guys, and this is, you know, it's not a big deal, not at all, but it's very, very useful, and people start changing the terrain again, and this is going to create some serious issues because of the water volume and stuff. I always recommend use the rocks to your favor, because there are some of the bigger rocks in here that have a very nice long and wide line to them, or like one of the sides. They're pretty high, I think 4 meters in total, and you can always use them to create very nice natural borders. They don't only look good, they only serve the purpose that it does prevent the animals from escaping. A lot more actually effective than the fencing, so I would always recommend to kind of keep an eye on what you want to do with the rocks and stuff, because they always serve as a wonderful natural border to your habitat. So I'm just putting them all over in here, creating this area to look nicer. We can also use it a bit more like so to actually make this whole area look good. So foliage is also not only plants and trees, it's also just stones, a lot of rocks and stuff. It always creates a more interesting looking area. As you can see, I'm also just spamming it over, and it's kind of a natural movement that I have the rotation on my key already before I put them down, to make sure that I never use the same rotation again. I also varied the textures a bit, so you can see there are a lot of nice rocks that have a nice variation in the texture, so I'm always using those to my favor as well. Sometimes I just move them into each other to create a new kind of rock structure. So this always helps you to make this all look a lot more interesting to look at, but also keeps your zoo interesting in terms of variation of nature and stuff. So as we've done this, we have to do one more thing, and this is cover up our stuff area in the back, because we have now created a very nice look into this area in general. What we will do now, we will basically cover up this area with foliage, but also with rocks. So I always love to draw a line with some of the big boulders first. So very, very easy. Don't go too crazy. Just use the bigger ones, vary them a bit so that this doesn't look too copied. And then you can also sometimes use the smaller ones, but always use a bigger boulder then to create a higher, like, you know, sideline, so to say, that you make sure basically you can't see stuff which is behind. This always helps to create a nicer looking zoo in the end. It's not really necessary in terms of your guests. If you have enough foliage anyways, they will consider this to be themed nicely, but I always love to have like a bit nicer looking area. So as you have done this, you can start playing around with more of the ground shrubbery. I always like to give my pathing a bit of a sideline and a bit of a curb. If there is no curb installed, just kind of make this with some foliage, and also be brave and break the mood a little bit. Just go in ever so slightly. Yes, people will walk through, but there is no such a thing than a perfect straight line in any zoo. Like, yes, some examples will be out there, you can show them to me, but in total there is no such a thing than a completely perfectly flat nice way. You won't even find this out there, I promise you. And so this is why I really love to just break it every now and then. Just go in, put some of the foliage, you know, just hang it over into the path area, just ever so slightly. You don't need to create something crazy. You can just go whatever you want to. Also, as you can see, I'm not using the filter any longer, because now you can use whatever foliage you want. If you want to stick to a certain theme, okay, hit the filter again and use that one, but for the moment it should be fine the way it is. As you can see, there is plenty of stuff you can use. Well, I shouldn't use a water lily over here. I want to use also some of the other trees to make sure I give my building a bit of context, so to say. You know, it's completely up to you. You can put all these trees in exactly the way how you like. I always like to create, as I said, a little bit of an area here. Maybe just round this up. And now I'm looking for some of the, oops, this wasn't what I wanted. I can't see, yeah, some of the smaller stuff over here to use some bushes, and I definitely want to have some of the blossom trees here as well in the front. You can see I'm just using a lot of the stuff to make it all look a bit more interesting, a bit more variation in here. You can also use these kind of broken down every now and then to make sure that you have some more interesting stuff going on. Yeah, yeah, let's put this cherry blossom here, and the other one, oh well, let's use the smaller one that goes in here. Perfect. I'm pretty much happy with how it looks already. The only thing I'm not happy with is this kind of area over here. Let's just quickly get in with another tree here. Awesome. And let's put some basic boulders beneath to give it a bit more of context. And then my last kind of a little bit of an advice I have for you guys is at the end of this episode, when we have finally, you know, put all the pieces in here, how you basically create the detailing. So now we have done the foliage. There's a difference of man-made foliage and trying to make it look naturally. This is definitely more the man-made kind of stuff. What you do here is a bit more looking natural, as you can see. So this is definitely, you know, following the lines makes it all look a lot more natural, less natural than it could be. One thing, you can also use these boulders. I like to use them also sometimes as little fences. So just bring them in here to kind of you know, make this look a bit nicer. I think that's kind of the first little detailing you could say. But now it gets really important to use the terrain painting again. I couldn't show this to you in the terrain episode, obviously, because there was not all the stuff in here. You can always use the painting later on to give the whole area a bit more context, because plants always create a difference in texture as well. Below the blossom tree, you wouldn't have that much grass. Next to the pathway over here as well. Just make sure that you give them a bit of a, you know, nicer texture below. It always creates a lot more feeling for your area. You can basically orient yourself, or just make sure that you keep to the stuff you put down. And then you can also, you know, experiment with some other stuff as well. Make it brighter, make it darker, but just make sure that you have a bit more texture going on. As you can see, this also created a way better looking area already. Cool, so we have done this. The left hand side is done. Now, the only thing I'm doing is, and I'll take you with me on this very short journey now, I want to create a bit of nice foliage over here to just round this area off. I'm just putting down some bushes here, also searching for some bigger stuff to, you know, because I'm lazy and I don't want to make this whole stuff too long now for you guys. And there we go. I could also activate, this is by pressing V, your foliage is aligning to the terrain again. Sometimes it makes sense to use it. Most of the times I don't use it because it always creates weird areas, but sometimes it's very useful, as it is over here right now. Just make sure that you put them all in and then move them down a tiny bit as well, yeah, to prevent it from looking very strange. But you can see with trees it's getting a bit problematic, but because no tree in this world would grow like that. So yeah, I'm using the normal kind of way now again. But wow, this is kind of a huge tree. Let's put this one, I don't want to put this huge tree there because I feel like it's not working. Let's put another one here. I want to have another cherry blossom tree on here. There were some other cool trees giving a bit more color to the area. Let's use that one. This is one of the large tree, the Huiren large tree. Interesting. Some of the names I can't really pronounce. This is weird. Okay, so I think I'll put this tree here. Awesome. Okay, now let's get to the detailing, and the detailing is pretty easy, guys, because what you want to do is to finish off an area, you always use the path props as well, because this creates kind of the finishing touches. So now you can see we are missing out on lampposts, we are missing out on benches and stuff. We're just going to plop them in now. Let's put some benches here with the little, with this little canopy here. Same goes to this canopy if I can. I can't go that close. Oh well, let's move on to the tree then. Put them here. Also want to have some benches up here so that the people have a nice view down to this area. Then we put some bins down. We have the East Asian bin anyways. I want to have one here. The other one goes to this area. put this here. Make sure also to not block the area where the people stand and look into. Make also sure to have it on both sides of the pathway, otherwise this is going to look a bit ridiculous. You could also go in and use this free space over here to create a lovely nice seating area. Is there actually some of the stuff I would love to have for the Asian area? Not really though. I mean, we have this one. Oh well, you know, for the moment we use this. I'm not the biggest fan of that one though. But hell, let's use it. And then give this a bit of a context by using those two things. And put another one here. I'm not even sure if guests will use it or will go through it. I'm not even sure about that. So, as we've done this, we want to make sure that we also have an ATM here because people want to give us money, right? Okay, we've done this, and we can also now go in with these lovely donation boxes and put them right next to here, and another one goes also to the top here, and then we also give them a bit of an education board, which always makes sense to make the area look nicer. Can I just deactivate this for a moment? Because, yeah, thank you. I had no idea where to put it, though. Now, let's say the deforestation will be a good thing for our pandas. And as you can imagine, the last thing we need is obviously more education boards. And there is this one blueprint. There we go. There's the education stand. I want to put this behind this bench over here to not create a too crazy, blocking area of view. So I want to put this other one here. Just raise this a bit. Here we go. And we put obviously another one to the top here where the people can stand and watch. All right. So since we only have one animal, we want to put this animal onto the boards. Obviously, this is the easiest thing to do. And here we go. Done. The only thing missing for our pandas is, and you know what, I'm lazy now because I totally forgot about that, is some climbing stuff. And we are going to use a lazy little blueprint here. Maybe even two. Let's give them another one, which is kind of sitting on top here. Oh, I like so. Okay, cool. I think the climbing need might even be fulfilled. I'm not even sure. Let's give them another one so they can climb also over the water and people can watch them. I think that's fairly okay. So now as we've done this, guys, that's it. The tutorial's done. Just a little summary for you guys. Foliage is, you know, you can use it in two ways. Either create something man-made looking, which could be nature, or you can make something more natural looking, which is very useful for habitats to make them look a lot more natural in comparison to what you would create else. And then yeah, just go crazy and experiment it. Use a lot of rocks also to fill in the gaps, because the rocks in Planet Zoo have an awesome texture. Make sure also to use the terrain, which I haven't done over here, so we can just quickly fix that and create. So you can actually see the difference in no time when I do this. Just, you know, paint a little bit below here. You can also again vary also with some rock. And then if you think it's too much, you can also brush over with the grass again, and it creates a lovely, nice effect. You can always go also next to the path to just, you know, create something like that. And here we go. That's it. We are done, guys. The wonderful red fluff panda area is done, and therefore we are just having a little look to these beauties. Look at this one. Oh, it's so awesome. Awesome. Okay, this is not an awesome video to look at animals. This is a tutorial, so behave, Rudi. I hope you guys enjoyed this series of tutorial videos. I hope it was helpful for you. If they were, make sure to share them around and help people out so they might become better. Yeah, I think if you have followed this whole tutorial, you will be able now to create everything in the game you want, because basically you know about the tools, and I can't wait to see what you guys create. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any more questions regarding foliage and building. Again, just to make sure that you guys don't understand my intention wrong or whatever, I'm not the biggest expert. I just wanted to give you an idea of how to use the tools, and I think this is, you know, something I can claim because I know how to use the tools, and everything else is up to you. Be creative, go crazy in this game and create whatever you want, and yeah, make sure that everyone sees it and share it all the way around, because people want to see your amazing creations as well. So again, if you want to download this one, it's in the link down below in the description, and I hope you enjoyed this one. See you in whatever project else. For now, the tutorial is done. Thanks a lot for watching my Zootorials, and have a great time with Planet Zoo, guys. Bye! Alrighty guys, thank you for watching this video, I really do appreciate that. As always, make sure to check out also my social media channels. You can find me everywhere under @Rudi Rennkamel. Also big thanks to the crew, you can see it on the left hand side right now. And as always, if you want to see more, you click that card on the top right. And if you want to stick around because you like the stuff you've just saw, whatever, you know what I mean, just click that sub button, which is to the bottom right of the screen right now. But everything else I can say is have a great time and see you next time. Bye guys.